Good morning, everybody. My name is Councillor Jackie Keane and I am the chairman of this committee. The item 2 on our agenda is the Licensing Act 2003 application to vary a premises licence to the Lux 6 Line and Lamb, Farnham, Surrey, GU97LL. An application has received to vary a premises licence from Mr. Kenan Hansar in respect of a two-storey retail unit currently occupied by Lux Restaurant and Bar. A total of 11 representations from other persons have been received in relation to this application, and 4 in opposition and the application and 7 in support. So the recommendation is to consider any legal advice relating to this application. So I'm now going to introduce you to the other members of our committee and our legal representative. So I've already introduced myself, so if I could introduce.
I'm Councillor Michael Higgins and I represent Ewhurst and Ellens Green.
Yeah.
I'm Ruth Reid and I represent, as a councillor, borough councillor for Waverley, Cranley East.
Thank you. Gillian?
My name's Gillian Carson-Jones. I work in the legal services team.
Paul? Introduce.
Paul Hughes, Licensing Manager.
Thank you, Billy.
Kimberly Soane, Regulatory and Review Advisor and Clerk in the meeting. Thank you.
So I've already introduced the title of the application under consideration. And the hearing is to enable the committee to consider the submissions and reach a judgment under the rules and guidance imposed by the Licensing Act of 2003, and having regard to the Council's statement of licensing policy, which as far as possible is acceptable to all parties within the rules and guidelines imposed by the Licensing Act 2003. Would the applicant like to introduce themselves and any support, if present, and advise who will be presenting their case, please?
Good morning. My name is Onur. I'll be representing the applicant. And I have with me the general manager and part shareholder of the business and the bar manager here as well.
I'm now going to ask Mr. Hughes, would you like to present, please?
Thank you, Madam Chair. You have in front of you an application to vary the premises licence of the Lux 6 Line and Lamb Yard, Farnham, from Mr. Kenan Hansar. Apologies, but on page 8 of the report, the opening hours states Wednesday 11 AM till 11 PM. It should read 11 AM till 11:15 PM. In brief, the applicant seeks to extend the opening hours and the hours for the sale and supply of alcohol, regulated entertainment, Sunday to Wednesday 11 till 11, and Thursday to Saturday 11 till midnight 30, late night refreshment 11 PM till midnight 20, sale of alcohol Sunday to Wednesday 11 till 2300, Thursday to Saturday 11 till midnight 20. I'd also like to point out on the sale of alcohol, they currently have consumption on and off the premises. I'm not sure whether it was a mistake on the application, but the new application requires on for consumption on only. It doesn't say both. And they also want to amend the opening hours Sunday to Wednesday from 11 till 23:15 and Thursday to Saturday 11 till midnight 45. No representations have been received from responsible authorities, although Environmental Health have agreed some conditions with the applicants, which are attached to Annex 7. The applicant has received 11 representations from other persons, 7 in support and 4 objecting. Officers request that you consider the matter.
Thank you very much, Mr Hughes. Now, I would like to ask, have you received all the documents that you require?
I have, councillor. Thank
Thank
you.
you very much indeed. Do you have any questions that you'd like to ask the licensing officer?
Not at this stage.
Right. Thank you very much. I'm now going to ask members of the committee if they have any questions they'd like to put. Right. Sorry, before we go on, would you like to set out your case and the reasons why you would like to extend your hours?
Gladly.
do
Thank you
beg your
very much. This is the second application the applicant is making to vary these hours. I was here a few months ago, and the Councillor Higgins, Sir Hershey, we were here. At the time, there has been a ongoing nuisance issue with their extraction fan at the back of the premises. Prior to that application, there has been a couple of noise complaints from the residents. The management take direct action, show willingness to work with the authorities, with the neighbours immediately, without wasting any time, without worrying about what the costs, whatever. They implemented systems straight away. One of them was the easy one, which is a noise limiter. And that sorted out the sound issue. So basically, it's a system that limits the amplified sound, regardless of who is using that performer or staff, whatever they do, that sound will never, ever pass that limit. So that's in place. This was in place while we did the last application. However, the main issue on that was the extractor fan, which is giving some food smells to the residents nearby. That wasn't as simple to sort out because if we are talking about a major extraction system, it's not like a device you buy, it works. Considerable amount of money spent, the old system gone, new system put in line with the planning, in line with all the other regulations. Unfortunately, that was happening while the last hearing was taking place. And I'm sure you have read the decision from the last hearing. The main reason was the environmental health wanted to see evidence that that issue is being resolved and as some time to pass to see that if it's working. That proof has been sent to environmental health. My client chose one of the best company in the country, Purified Air? Yes. Purified Air. The documentation sent to environmental health. They came several times. They visited the premises. They checked. They approved. They're happy with it. In their email, I have sent an email correspondence with Holly as well from environmental health, confirming that the system is working. They're happy with it. And that nuisance does not exist anymore. The other noise issue is being dealt with as well with the noise limiter. And again, in that email, I have sent a copy to you to have a look. Again, there has been no complaints since that application and the implementing of the noise limiter. And every step my client takes is working. What we need to understand here, really important in my point of view, is that they did not waste time at all dealing with a valid complaint. Of course, they didn't want this to happen, but things do happen when you build places with major extraction fans, and these things can go wrong, which it did, but they take action straight away. Immediately, they work with the authorities with no questions asked. They were responsive, proactive on every matter, and they have resolved all these issues. And you have a confirmation in front of you from the environmental health that these issues has been resolved, do not exist anymore, that nuisance does not exist anymore. And Do we need to wait anymore to see if it works or not? Well, it's a simple answer to that. It's a machine. It's there. It's working. And it's going to keep working exactly the same as today. And it's been checked monthly. Filters are changed and everything. So the issue will not happen again. So there's no point on waiting for another year or for another 6 months to see if the steps taken are working. They are working. They were working yesterday, they're working today, and they will work tomorrow. So I want to leave it at that, and then we can happily answer your questions. Thank you.
Thank you very much indeed. Thank you. Now, before I go over to questions from us, I would like to ask the people that are making representations, please, to state who they are and give their reasoning for why they are either objecting or supporting. So, Ms. Councillor Hess.
Good morning, everybody. I'm Councillor George Hess from Farnham. I represent Farnham Castle Ward, which is the town centre. I've been asked to come this morning by the Planning and Licensing Committee at Farnham Town Council because they have registered an objection previously. Thank you.
Morning, my name is Neil Hurd. I'm a local resident. I live next door to the Lux in a building with a bunch of other people, some of whom I'm representing here as a local resident.
Reasoning is behind your objection or the town council's objection.
Yes, thank you, Chair. I'll simply read out what the objection is, just to reiterate it, and that's really all I'll do. It is felt that insufficient time has passed since the refusal of the previous variation application to demonstrate that the issues of noise and nuisance of smells under the licensing objective of public nuisance have been fully resolved. Farnham Town Council objects to this variation for its potential to cause public nuisance. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councillor Hess, and perhaps you'd like to explain why you're objecting.
Yes, thank you. I've got a little statement that I'd like to read out, if that's okay. As I said previously, I live in the building next door to the Lux, and I've lived there for 12 years now, and very happily for most of that period, which is why I've been there for 12 years. Since late 2023, when the building occupant became the Lux, our new neighbour has forced us to endure repetitive kitchen fumes, which I note that you've made efforts to improve the filtration system, and I wouldn't necessarily agree that the smell has gone. There is definitely a smell, and it's still there. Kitchen fumes, loud music, and excessive street noise. My neighbours and I are by no means oblivious to what it means to live in a town centre. Many of us like a night out ourselves. But we do believe that the current and future operations of the Lux are somewhat of a public nuisance. There are 7 homes in the building that I occupy, including some with children. In addition, there are 12 more homes occupying other buildings in line in Lamb Yard, where the Lux is located. If a licence application is granted, every home will be impacted by more music noise, drunken behaviour and kitchen pollution, assuming the kitchen remains open for longer than it already is. Furthermore, to the rear of the Lux, close to 4 long-standing cottages on Long Garden Walk, just 10 metres behind the Lux back door, there are currently multiple new homes under construction. If the application is granted, all of these will also be impacted by more late-night operation noise and pollution. Some homes like mine are affected in stereo. I get it from the front and the rear, and others do as well. Less than 6 months ago, on the 16th of July, during the last hearing, the applicant was offered recommendations to address objections and demonstrate they could operate considerably before making another application. In the time since, as a resident, I don't feel I've seen any sign of this. Appreciate you believe you've done a lot since then. I don't necessarily agree with that. In fact, myself and my neighbours have provided video and photographic evidence which gives examples of new repetitive incidents, including noise pollution from recorded music, noise pollution from live performances, which I note what Environmental Health have said in their annex about a sound limiting device, but I personally don't believe that that is being used when there's a live performance. Some of those live performances include someone playing a drum kit as well. I'm not certain that's exactly put through a sound limiting device either. We've witnessed public nuisance and disorder outside the premises. We've witnessed public indecency outside the premises, of which we've provided video evidence of, which is a bit of a video nasty if you ever watch it. We've had to endure bottles being disposed of in bulk, which regularly happens late into the night, sometimes past midnight. People drinking at tables that are located outside, which we've come to believe has been after hours. We've also seen non-dining customers entering for drinks only, and this is despite assurances that they only serve alcohol with food. They claim to operate with a table-only service and no vertical drinking policy, which is stated on page 95 and 96 of the report document. I think the reality is somewhat different to that. A serious late-night incident, which I understand resulted in actual bodily harm, after which the police had to cordon the yard while they investigated. In the 12 years that I've lived there, it's the first time I've seen police tape outside my house. We've also experienced occasions when they've operated beyond their licensed hours and played music without an approved 10, namely on Saturday the 14th of December, which lasted for about an hour past the licensed time. Therefore, the only conclusion that can be drawn is that the applicant has not listened or doesn't care. Consequently, given this lack of care, I personally think the best result for the community would be for their entire licence to be withdrawn, but I appreciate that that might not be possible. However, if you're unable to do this, then we have got some 5 suggestions that we'd like to council to consider to possibly prevent future contention with neighbours. The first of those is the outside tables. We ask that these should be removed every day after 10 p.m. These aren't shown on the floor plans that were submitted within the original licence application on page 55. It shows a table plan, a floor plan of the premises, which doesn't include any tables located outside. The licence holder leaves them in situ 24/7. They're never removed, which means a constant flow of people between the inside and the outside long after any dining is over. This causes excessive music noise to escape through the front doors on Fridays and Saturdays. In warmer weather, we've experienced loud groups using them just for drinking late into the night, which creates excessive street noise, in part due to screaming and shouting which takes place. Even in cold weather, they attract smokers who regularly use them with drinks in hand. I'd like to draw the committee's attention also to part of an earlier decision notice that was made for the business located directly opposite the Lux, which is called DM. I have a reference to that if you'd like me to give it. But I just want to quote from that decision hearing notice for DM. It said in that notice, during the hearing, the applicant agreed to restrict the hours for use and the service of alcohol dining on the outside terrace to 10 p.m. in line with the condition applied to another establishment in Lam Yard. So the way I interpret that is that precedents have already been set for the use of the outside space in Line and Lamb Yard at 10 p.m. And that's not what we're witnessing at the moment, which is why I'm asking for those tables to be withdrawn by 10 p.m. every night. Secondly, the bottles. We ask that the bottles shouldn't be disposed between the hours of 9 p.m. and 9 a.m. in the morning outside. Thirdly, music. We ask that no live or recorded music is played in the premises upstairs after 10 p.m. And the upstairs area of the premises affects the residents next door far greater than any other part of their building. Fourth is front door control. We ask that a dedicated registered member of door staff should be employed every Friday and Saturday night. To prevent people from congregating and partying outside. This particular issue is compounded by the outdoor tables. So, and also the outdoor tables that belong to DM opposite, which are often allowed to be left in place beyond 10 p.m. So people go and sit on those from the Lux. Lux isn't just the luxurious restaurant that they portray themselves as. During the weekends, it's fast descending into a teenage night spot and party venue. In the evidence that we've provided, the videos, we've shown that this is to be true. And it can also be concluded from what people have written in support of the application. For example, on page 119 and 123, where people talk about wanting to have a party, and that's why they want it to stay open for longer. And if there was a member of door staff that was employed, they could obviously make sure that the door always remains closed, which would be in line with what Environmental Health have mentioned in their annex. And the fifth thing would be, we'd love for a noise curtain to be installed, and that after 10 p.m, the noise curtain was used at the weekends to help keep the noise in the building. So in summary, given the number of new incidents since the last hearing and the lack of corrective action, I ask that you reject this application. Additionally, I would love for you to consider applying the recommended conditions to their existing licence. Whether or not that includes the extension, we'd still like to see some conditions put on that existing licence, please. That would be amazing if you could do that for us. So that everyone can live in harmony. And that's it, unless there's any questions for me. Thank you.
Thank you very, very much indeed for a very full report that you've given us, both of you. Now, would you like to respond to that before we actually come in as the committee?
I would, please. Neil, thank you very much. Last time when we were here, we were in a bit more different approach to this, and I really thank you very much for your approach to it this time. The 5 points he made as that can be used as a condition is completely acceptable. There's absolutely no argument there. I cannot emphasize that I support this wholly. That's perfectly acceptable from our side of the things. I just want to highlight a couple of things. We have absolutely no problem with the music upstairs as well, so we're very happy to accept all those. I don't know exactly which flat Mr. Hurd lives, but as he said, we're talking about 20 to 25 residents, if I'm not mistaken, give or take a few, in the vicinity. Not everybody is objecting to this. So we have a great number of people that, although they had sufficient time in the last application and in this application, in fact, they had more than usual time to object, to make their voices heard, whereas they choose not to. So I want this to be accounted for, please. In the support that he was mentioning, We are not hiding anything. The Deluxe is not hiding anything. It's a restaurant providing, he doesn't agree, but the proof is in the pudding, really. I mean, you can check the menu. You're welcome to come and inspect the venue, which you never did. You can come and see the operation yourself. The amount of, see that kitchen, the equipment in there is top of the range. The meat, everything they are using is absolute premium quality. The price reflects this as well. It's not a cheap place where you can go like a public house. You can go and have pint after a pint. It's not a cheap place. So the idea is not attracting teenagers. The idea is not attracting help with binge drinking in any shape or form. It is a place, quality really goes in front of quantity. So Mr. Hurd's saying that it's not a fine restaurant is his view. Unfortunately, the reality is it is a fine dining restaurant providing a light entertainment. Regarding with the vertical drinking, there is no vertical drinking. There's no bar service. People, they come in, they be welcomed at the door, they've been shown a table, if there's a table available, which usually there are, they sit down and they've been served at their table. Vertical drinking only happens in public houses, pubs, where you can just walk in, as we all know, go to the bar, have a pint or whatever you want, and then you drink it while you're playing a fruit machine or having a cigarette here and there. Outside, in this place, that doesn't happen.
Could I just stop you there? Mr. Hughes, when you when you visited the Lux, did you see anybody drinking vertically?
Generally, when I've visited the premises, it's mainly seated. There is the odd person I've seen dancing. It's not a nightclub, as far as I'm concerned. It's mainly tables sat, people there. There might be the odd person standing up, but I think it's generally, as they stay, it's mainly wait service. But I don't go there every day. But on the occasions I've been, that's how it appears to me.
Yeah, I really want to finish again. Look, my clients here, from day one, even before they opened, one thing in their mind, which I was advising them at the time for their menus and everything else as well, that be in good relations with neighbors and the local authority. And from day one, I really do believe that they demonstrated this in fully by taking into consideration every sometimes invalid complaints. Still they acted on it. Every little approach from the council, as expected, as it should be, they replied to them straight away. They took action. Money is not a problem. It's been invested, although it's been the difficult times, but they made sure that the problem is resolved. And I want to finish it there, but again, once again, I'm very happy with the approach of the resident, and we're very happy to accept those 5 points he made, and happy to accept them as a condition in the license. Thank you.
Thank you. Now, if you'd like to come back, and then I'm going to ask my fellow committee to ask any questions they'd like.
It was just on the subject of the vertical drinking thing. Certainly, the videos we've provided for the outside space doesn't back that up. And there's a picture on page 115 of the document of people stood up at the tables outside drinking. So it's not quite people are sat down drinking with meals.
Mr. Hughes?
Yeah, just to state that, as you mentioned before, Mr. Hurd, about the tables outside not being on the premises licence, the licence for the premises is the building itself, not the outside area. Some premises do have an outside area where they put it on the plan, so they're only allowed to sell and they're only licensed within that building, not the outside. Where people take drinks outside is off sales for consumption off the premises. They can take drinks out, but it doesn't. That's why the tables aren't on the premises, because that's not that doesn't form part of the premises license.
So they're not allowed to serve people at those tables with drinks that are dining either then?
They can. It depends where, and the sale of alcohol is where the appropriation takes place. So for instance, it's easier for me to give you an example of an internet sale. So if you buy alcohol online at 2 o'clock in the morning, so you booked it at 2 o'clock in the morning, it goes through to a computer and you've paid your money and stuff. It's not until the person goes into, there's 100 bottles on the shelf in the factory, I walk up and select a bottle for Mr. Hurd. That's where the appropriation takes place, and that's when the sale takes place. So that might happen at 9 o'clock in the morning. So that premises only has to be covered for that 9 o'clock that time, and I take it and the appropriation take place. So you might order alcohol outside, but I then walk in as the waitress, select your drink inside. That's where the appropriation took place. I bring it to you and you give me the cash, possibly outside. The sale took place inside because that's when the appropriation took place.
Right, thank you very much. Now, Councillor Higgins.
Thank you very much, Mr. Hurd. You gave a very comprehensive statement, and I appreciate that actually your starting point is objection, but you quite fairly, I think, gave constructive conditions, and I just want to be clear as to what these conditions are. So if you don't mind if I run through them. So I think the first one was it tables being removed 10 p.m? And the second one was the bottles being disposed can't be disposed times outside 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. The fourth one is to stop upstairs music. What time would you propose for that? Oh, okay. Just
But 10 p.m. I think is fair, in line with the outside space.
and then front door control, so security. Was it Friday, Saturday, Sunday?
Yeah, from what myself and my neighbours witness in terms of the on-street disruption and the noise from music, it is just Fridays and Saturdays.
Okay.
So that would be when the most reasonable time for somebody to be employed on the door would be, in my opinion, to prevent people from congregating outside and keep that noise down to a minimum from the door being closed.
And I think I may have missed the last point there.
Noise curtain.
Noise curtain, was it?
Yeah, a noise curtain, please. Yeah, that would be amazing.
Okay. Thank you. And I'll move on to Mr. Hughes, if that's okay. Farnham Town Council obviously objected, saying that the licensing conditions proposed aren't consistent with other premises in the area. But my understanding is, for example, Coat may have extended opening hours. Is that your understanding as well? It's not within the papers, it's just I looked online.
Yeah, I've got the local premises here. So Coat have recorded music Monday to Sunday till midnight, and on and off sales from 8 o'clock till midnight, Monday to Sunday. The other premises, Lion and Lamb Yard, CAF have it till alcohol till 2300. Sylvanas has it till 23, and Coffee DM has it till opening hours till 23 with alcohol finish at 22:30. So there's a mixture. So there is a couple that are finishing at 11 and one that's finishing at midnight. Could I also mention while I'm on the mic, just to manage expectations, because I appreciate the conditions you put through, the tables might go, but smokers will still go outside. So there'll still be congregations outside if people go out to smoke. They might not sit on those tables, or they might cross, because I have had people mention that some people from the Lux may go across the road to the tables outside the other premises, so they could sit there. Also to manage expectations is it's a thoroughfare through there. So in Waitrose car park, you could go that way from town to go to the University of Arts where the residents are. It's also the kebab van there. So there's also that. So there's people go through. So it's not, we have them. It's like William Cobbett. People get blamed, William Cobbett gets blamed sometimes for people coming from the Mulberry cut through that way, back through the park and back to the university or wherever they're going. So you've got to understand that some of it, outside noise, may not be from the premises. It could be people travelling through, see a friend, whatever, just take a seat. So there, I just want to manage expectations from removing tables won't necessarily stop the noise.
I think the applicant wanted to just say something.
If I may, thank you very much. Very nice point Mr. Hughes made. I want to help the cause a bit more. We can actually put another condition saying that people cannot go outside with a drink. This will limit the time they want to spend outside to a minimum. If they go out with a drink, I'm really trying to help you here. If they go out with a drink, they are more tend to, we cannot say, okay, you finish your cigarette, go inside, it's, you can't do that. Whereas if you get a door supervisor there, he can monitor the situation. If their drink is inside, they will go inside much quicker after they finish their cigarettes rather than wasting their time finishing their drink outside. So we are happy to put another condition that no one is allowed after 10 p.m., let's say, once the tables are moved, no one is allowed to go outside with a drink. I think that will help greatly.
Sorry, do you want to ask another question?
Mr. Hughes, again, at Annex 7, Environmental Health have a couple of conditions that they've agreed with the applicant. I mean, obviously, Mr. Hurd's given his 5 conditions. I'm conscious that the committee can only sort of implement conditions that are enforceable. So I was just wondering whether you're comfortable that if we were to implement these would be enforceable.
I believe all the ones that have been spoken about from Mr. Hurd are enforceable. Obviously, they've got to be acted on by the applicants. It's all right saying no drinks outside. We do use that condition a lot for other premises where there's noise outside, but it's got to be managed. And if they have got SIA on, that makes it likely, because people will go out and there will be the occasion, unless you have someone on the door all the time, people will go out with drinks. But on the noise side of things, again, to manage expectations, Environmental Health have put some conditions on, but because it's not, you can only put conditions on to do with music at a review hearing. So those conditions are null and void if they're related to music between the hours of 8 a.m. and 11 p.m. They will come into force at 11 p.m. So they're reviews after 11 p.m. But up until 11 p.m, because it's music only, it's not enforceable because of the Live Music Act.
As Mr. Hughes has said, that you can quite reasonably have the music on until 11 p.m. But you have stated here that you would be quite happy to not have that music after 10 p.m. So we have to take it on your trust that that is something you would do.
Just to make it clear, when I said no music after 10 p.m, Mr. Hurd suggested upstairs only. So yes, I can confirm, happy to, upstairs 10 p.m, no music whatsoever. Although it's not licensable, we're still willing to work together here. So absolutely.
Thank you. Councillor Reid.
Thank you very much, Chair. Thank you very much for your presentations, both sides. I noticed on the on the application, your licence for late night refreshment is indoors. So I'm assuming that if you agree that the tables and chairs outside are removed, everything will take place indoors. Thank you. And thank you very much. I was pleased to read that you have complied with the environmental health, with the extractor fan. That's really good news. And also the decibels have been, the ruling there has been complied with. Thank you very much for that. I've read all the papers, and I agree that you as a business cannot control the public walking through. I'm very familiar with that area. My question is, first of all, to Mr. Hughes, is this live music or recorded music, please?
Well, for the exemption from between 8 and 11, it's for both of them, as long as it's for on sales of alcohol and for less than 500 people. And just to clarify Mr. Hurd's condition about the music upstairs finishing at 10 o'clock, again, that falls into the same category. They can agree it and it could go on their licence as a condition, but it's not enforceable. If they decide to play music at 11, they're not in breach of their licence because it's not licensable until 11 p.m. But hopefully, if they've agreed it in the meeting, they will keep to that if that's what the committee decides.
I have asked that because I was rather concerned about a drumming incident that had been written about. I think the removal of the tables will be excellent because you can't control it. DM can't control it. And you don't know where people are going to be sitting down. So having the curtain and enforcing people trying to prevent people going outside with their drinks, I think that's a very good compromise. And thank you very much for putting that forward. The door control, I think, is excellent too. My question now is, what is going to happen and how will you enforce this bottle collection and disposal? Because I mentioned that last time at the last meeting. Could you answer that one, please?
Happily. There's a little bit of an issue on this matter. My client here insisting that they are not doing it. I'm not saying Mr. Hurd is lying in any shape or form. If he says there is that noise, I believe him. He insists, I don't want to give names somewhere else, but it's a very simple internal management system. They have enough space. They will keep the bottles inside, don't put outside, and they will do it the next day. It's really not big of a complicated operation. The bar manager is here as well. That's one of the reasons I want him to come as well, because they understand better. I'm accustomed to this environment, but they're not. They understand better their responsibilities, how important it is, and how difficult it is to get things approved, and how effective their actions to their neighbours, to everyone, and what we do. So it's a very easily enforceable condition as well. It's a standard condition, in fact. No bottles. Fair enough. I mean, yes, but yeah, it's very easily manageable, madam. As I say, we got enough storage. We can store them inside, and they can dispose of them the next day.
Mr. Hassar, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you very much.
When's resident?
Yes.
Yeah, can I just refer back to the bit about the drum kit? There is a drum kit that gets regularly played in there, and it's also on their marketing video, which I did circulate, of someone playing a drum kit. I've lost my train of thought now, but to me the drum kit doesn't appear to be being put through a limiter device. So I'd like to know if that is what is happening, or would love to have some assurances that the drum kit wouldn't be used late at night as well.
Thank you, Mr. Hurd. Yep.
I can confirm that we are happy to accept no drums at all times. whatsoever.
Thank you. That
7
can,
days, 24 hours, no drums.
thank you. That can be minuted. Thank you. I'm pleased that you are happy to put door staff on, because I do feel that, you know, people congregating outside late in the evening, it can be very annoying to neighbours with you know, shouting and what have you. So I'm pleased to see that. With the bottles, it's something that we always discuss when we get applications about the times that bottles are disposed of. So I'm happy that, you know, I'm pleased that you're willing to make sure that those bottles are kept inside until the morning. I think most of the questions that I wanted to ask have been asked by my colleagues. So unless there is anything else that you would like to add now, before we retire, have you any more questions, Councillor Reid?
No.
Councillor Higgins? Mr. Hare, Councillor Hess.
I think what I've heard from I apologise, I didn't catch your name, but I'll refer to you as the agent. Is that all right? I think what I've heard from the agent, accepting Mr. Hurd's 5 points plus what he's just said about the drums, sounds very acceptable, and that's appreciated. I think it's just a question of the hours that perhaps remains to be settled. I'll just leave that with you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councillor Hess. Now, as there are no more questions, and I think everybody's satisfied with all the answers that we've had, I will now advise you that the subcommittee will now withdraw. To consider the decision, we will be taking our committee secretary, Kimberly, with us, and our solicitor, and we will come back with our decision. Thank you. Well, thank you very much, everybody, and thank you very much for coming this morning. We have listened very, very carefully to what you've said. The committee have considered the evidence and noted the discussions. We welcome the agreement of the applicant to the 5 suggested conditions. 1, outside tables to be removed after 10 p.m. 2, bottles to be collected and disposed of outside of that 8 p.m., 9 p.m. till 8 a.m. Number 3, no music or live entertainment upstairs after 10 p.m. and no drumming at all. 4, front door control supervision on Friday, Saturday night to ensure no clients hang around outside the premises causing nuisance and noise. Ideally, SIA staff, 8 p.m. till closing. 5, noise curtains to be installed to minimise the noise egress as clients enter and leave the premises. And also the agreement of the conditions suggested by Environmental Health and additional condition 6. The committee were concerned with the proposed closing hours Thursday to Saturday and feel that 12 o'clock for the cessation of regular entertainment and late night refreshment, sale of alcohol was more appropriate with the opening hours to end at 12:30 a.m. The committee therefore grant the application with the above conditions and revised opening hours. Mr. Hughes?
Can I just clarify about the SIA? You said ideally, was that in the condition or just how you monitored it? Because that ideally won't be enforceable.
All right. We really do feel that for a Friday and Saturday, it would be better for you to have regulated. Yeah, you're happy with that, aren't you? Thank you. That we could put that in as a condition. Thank you very much indeed. Yes, I think I did say it, but maybe I'll remind you of what I said about the drinking hours. The committee were concerned with the proposed closing hours Thursday to Saturday and feel that 12 o'clock for the cessation of regular entertainment and late night refreshment, but closing at 12:30. Happy? Okay. So I've said we grant the licence for the opening hours. The premises and licence holder nominated persons shall advise customers of the need to respect local residents and, where appropriate, patrons continuing to cause disturbance or disorder will be asked to leave the premises. I think that's quite reasonable. The applicants are advised that they should adhere to these conditions, otherwise consequences could arise by way of a review of your licence. Thank you very much.